Hello and welcome to Lunch with the Editor. This week we have looked at one of the most important stories of our times. That is allegations of sexual harassment without going through the due process of law. It's become the new trend to name and shame male co-workers and even teachers on the social media, thereby destroying credibility, destroying reputations, and at times destroying lives. The Me Too campaign had struck the academia like a huge storm. We are not trying to say that the campaign did not have merit. That is not our intention at all. For all we know, most of the teachers, most of the professors named and shamed were involved in some act of impropriety or not. Primarily the issue is, should we just throw mud at somebody? Should we just name and shame and then run away without going through the due process of law? This has had a tremendous impact across academia, not just in India, all over the world. The Me Too campaign, which started with the Hollywood stars attacking one of the most powerful persons in international movie industry. From there, it took off a completely different course altogether, and now it has reached almost all, almost all walks of life. So we have reported on this. Reporter Pragya Singh walked a real tightrope walk, neither not taking a stand at all, in the sense that not falling for any biases, with a totally unbiased, with a totally open mind, looking at this minefield wherein one allegation without merit could actually destroy the entire campaign itself. And there were instances of people getting named and shamed brutally, and where even atmosphere in the classroom, atmosphere in the workplace, atmosphere elsewhere has all got vitiated because of a mistrust that has set in between co-workers, between colleagues, between teachers, between students and teachers. So, Pranay, I don't know how it is going to play out.
You're absolutely right. It's an extremely tricky issue, and you have to be very careful, about the sensitivity, in the sense that what Pragya, as you mentioned, when she was writing the piece, that it shouldn't be seen that you are siding with one side or the other, but at the same time not looking at the problem. The problem is there. But the problem is not only where we have seen in various workplaces where people have used this. I mean, it's not that male colleagues have not used the power equation which has come, have tried to force others, or not force in that directly, but in various manners, that I'm at a superior, stronger position, so these things would work in and fall in accordingly. But at the same time, now what is happening is this can't become a new weapon, which a lot of people are using perhaps. No one knows the merit half the times, but it is just you put it up on the social media. What happens? That person who has been named, he will for the rest of several weeks. Yeah. And we've also had cases where people have committed suicide.
Yeah.
So naming and shaming, is it something that needs to be corrected? Should there be more engagement, as some of the others have also, I think, Doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man, but this is a problem. How do you come together, engage with each other to try and resolve it, rather than just naming and shaming someone?
One of the most important aspects of this package is a beautiful column. Actually, I would say all the columns are equally well written, and all of them merit attention from all of you. Shiv Vishwanathan's column points out the mistrust that we are talking about in classrooms between teachers and students. He talks about the Stalinist methods to fight patriarchy. Patriarchy needs to be fought. There's no doubt about it. We all want patriarchy to be smashed to smithereens. But how do we do it? What are the methods? So that's a brilliant exposition that Shiv Vishwanathan has made. Natasha Badwar, again, very nice column. But I would like all of you to take a very close look at what Seba Imam has written. Seba Imam has written about the death of Khurshid. Khurshid Anwar. Khurshid Anwar was a social activist. He was accused of rape. Accused of rape where? On social media. That's the saddest part of it. Khurshid Anwar was, there was not a case of rape registered against Khurshid Anwar, but he was named and shamed and his reputation destroyed. All on social media. And Khurshid Anwar committed suicide. And still, even now, there is no case of rape. So, it's a very, very complex thing that is being played out now. We don't know how far it will go or what shape it will take. On the one hand, we have terrible patriarchy. We have the carb mindset. We have rapes, molestations, trafficking, and all sorts of anti-women attitude. On the other hand, there is a situation where colleagues cannot sit together.
I think another point that Rebecca John, has made is that, our law, it should be that a person is innocent unless proven guilty.
Yeah.
In this case, the entire thing has changed. The onus is on you to prove that you're innocent. You are presumed guilty. Everyone jumps into, declaring that you are guilty. Maybe there are a lot of people against whom these charges are maybe guilty. But how do you make the presumption that just because I know about a case and therefore this is also correct?
The primary presumption is that of guilt.
That's what I'm saying.
Not innocence.
That is something which needs to change. I think there are many sensible people. They should relook at it. What has happened now, we had women colleagues all along. Earlier you would crack a joke often without thinking. Now this political correctness, and also, how long, what kind of a sensitivity do you have to show? You see someone wearing a nice sari or a dress and you say, oh, it's a beautiful one. Does it mean that you're also trying to, it's kind of innuendo? These are things I'm seeing that which is making people so careful that it becomes difficult, the kind of relation, the friendliness that we were enjoying earlier. It's also, putting pressure on that.
We have a viewer asking a question, why there wasn't a criminal defamation case filed by Khurshid Anwar. Yes, it was there. He did file it, but then probably he was too sensitive to go through the rigors of a criminal trial. He chose a shorter bypass and committed suicide. So it is a very, very complex issue. We all want women to get liberated, women to get empowered. All our colleagues, all those who are out there who would need protection have to be protected, have to be empowered, have to get every extra bit of authority that the workplace gives them. There is no doubt about it. Laws, obviously, whether they lay down laws or whether the protection that a workplace gives or a university gives or a place of academics, wherever it is. But here the thing is that the situation has gone completely out of hand, where now there is a lot of suspicion and mistrust. So that is our cover package. Do take a look at it. We also have a fairly large package on the Dalit distress. Dalits were out on the streets last week. Almost 9 of them were killed while protests erupted across the country over the fear of dilution of the SC/ST Atrocities Prevention Act because of certain order given by the Supreme Court. Even today, there is a hartal or a bandh that is happening in Kerala. So this is, from the north to south, from the east to west, the most oppressed people of this country are extremely, extremely upset. They're worried, they're anxious.
True. And they think, it's about time that we should fight back here. Because unless we assert ourselves, no one is going to listen, and it will keep happening what has been happening for the last, if not even longer, at least for 3-4 years. We've seen in various parts such incidents are rising. Maybe they have become more vocal, that's why we are getting to know about it, because of, say, social media and other kind of tools that they have today to highlight these atrocities which were earlier perhaps not being reported. Now, whichever way, since it is coming into the center stage, there has to be more discussion, more focus, and one of the things is what they are trying to assert, the way they are trying to assert, this will go on. I don't think, very quickly, very early, we can see some kind of a thing where it will be.
We have columnists Vinay Kumar and SDGM Prasad. Both have been activists for many decades. They are explaining how this order might dilute the Atrocities Prevention Act and what really makes Dalits anxious. And they are pointing out a very, very important aspect, that right now the community is one pan-Indian community. Probably the political leaderships of various parties have not understood that yet. The community, unlike earlier times, the community is behaving as one pan-Indian, one national entity. They may also vote like one bloc.
Absolutely. And so for all the elections that is coming up, and for the Lok Sabha election also, it becomes a very, very significant group, and how they feel and respond to some of the challenges that they are facing, which are becoming sharper, therefore gathers that kind of silence.
And also please take a look at Aruna Roy's RTI diary. She has been a right to information activist, or rather the most important right to information activist of our country. And her book, The RTI Story, Power to the People, is coming out very soon. So that's all for today. Thanks for joining.